Hey you guys, what's up? In today's video, I'm going to be testing out the brand new Too Faced Teddy Bear Bare It All eyeshadow palette. I was so excited whenever I saw they were launching this palette. I talked about it in one of my recent videos where I talked about new makeup releases. And in today's video, I'm going to be creating these two eyeshadow looks with this palette. And I'm also going to be showing you guys like close-ups and swatches of all of the shades in this palette. So I hope you guys are all excited about today's video. If you are excited about this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you're not already. And yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So first things first, we're going to do like close-ups of the palette and I'm going to show you guys swatches of all of these shades. So this is the Too Faced Teddy Bear Bare It All eyeshadow palette and the price is $45. Here is what the actual palette looks like. I love the packaging. I think it looks so cute. The first thing that I did notice about the packaging is that it's very small. So for comparison, here is the Too Faced Chocolate Gold palette next to the new Teddy Bear palette. As you guys can see, the Teddy Bear palette is much smaller. I actually don't mind that the palette is smaller. I feel like it makes it easier to travel with. It's very thin. This would be very easy to like just put in your purse. And yeah, I love that it's not like bulky packaging, but that was the first thing that I noticed is that it is very small. So whenever you open it up, it does have 14 beautiful shades in here. So in this palette, we have 10 mattes and then 4 multi-dimensional metallics. So this palette is supposed to smell like honey graham crackers, and it says it has a creamy powder formula made with manuka honey and cinnamon. So now let's go ahead and do some swatches. So the first shade we have right here is called The Snuggle Is Real. So that shade was pretty light. I did have to do a second layer. Next we have the shade For Real. Okay, that shade is so pretty. Next we have Teddy Bear. Yeah, I feel like Too Faced eyeshadows never swatch very well on the arm, but as I say in every video, like you can't really judge an eyeshadow based on how they swatch on the arm. It's more about how they look on the eyes, but yeah, I just noticed from past Too Faced palettes that their eyeshadows don't really swatch the best on the arm. Next we have the shade Pot of Honey. That one is also very pretty, but I feel like these are pretty similar. Embarrassed. Another matte. I'm probably going to have to put another layer on this. Lace Teddy. Ooh, that one was very, very creamy. Boop. Yeah, these mattes just don't swatch very well. Bare It All. Well, I don't know if you guys can even see that. Mama Bear. Gilda-Bear. Okay, that one barely shows up as well. I feel like these shades are pretty similar as well. Fuzzy Wuzzy. Press Pause. Stuffed. I'm running out of room on my arm. And the last shade is called Sharing is Caring. Okay, yeah, I was definitely running out of room, but here are all of the shades in the palette. I think it's a pretty color story, but based on the swatches, I feel like there are some shades that are pretty similar. So now that you guys have seen the palette up close, you've seen all of the shades swatched, let's go ahead and jump into like the demo part of this video where I'm going to create these two eye looks for you guys. All right, so I went ahead and primed my lids with my P. Louise base. I'm going to be doing 2 different eye looks. So we're first going to start over here on the left eye. I'm going to first pick up the shade right here called The Snuggle Is Real. And I'm just going to start by kind of tapping this in the crease with a fluffy brush, and then I'm going to kind of start swirling it and then going back and forth in windshield wiper motions. So this off the bat I feel like has better pigmentation on the eye than when it was swatched. I feel like that is the case most of the time with the Too Faced matte eyeshadows. They definitely don't swatch very well, but they usually go on the eyes pretty nicely. In the past I have had some issues with their mattes being like a little bit patchy. This shade seems to be fine though. I just moved up a little bit closer so you guys can really see the eyeshadow. So I was just thinking that the palette is supposed to smell like graham crackers, I guess, and I don't really smell anything like it. There's a very light scent, which is great because I know some of their other eyeshadow palettes are like really strongly scented. This one definitely has a very light scent. Like I can't smell it while I'm doing my eyeshadow right now. And last time I reviewed a Too Faced palette, it had a rose scent and it was very strong. Next, I'm gonna pick up the shade right here called Teddy Bear. And I want this eye to be more of like a warm, kind of like brown toned eye. Since our options are kind of either like pink toned browns or more like orangey warm browns. So I'm just gonna kind of add this a little lower in the crease and then kind of blend it outwards. Now I'm going to pick up the shade right here called Mama Bear. I'm going to try and use as many shades as possible. I like to try and use like almost all of the shades in a palette when I'm doing an eyeshadow palette review. But with this shade, I'm just going to start on the outer corner with it and then kind of tightly blend it into the crease. I always kind of like to do like this type of eye look when I'm reviewing a palette because this is like my signature eye look. It's like the easiest eye look for me to do. So that way I can tell if I really like a palette or not based on how this type of eye look comes out. But honestly, so far the mattes have been blending very nicely in the crease. I haven't had any issues with patchiness so far. Even though they swatched pretty like light and patchy, they seem fine on the eyes. So now I'm going to take this dark brown right here called Fuzzy Wuzzy. Once again on like a little tiny blending brush, I'm going to kind of just blend this on the outer corner area. I don't want to go like too far in with this shade. I might just like tightly blend it along the crease line right here. This one isn't showing up very pigmented from what I'm noticing right now. I am kind of having to dip my brush back into the palette a lot to get this shade to show up as dark as it looks in the pan. It's not like patchy or anything, it just does take a little bit of work to build this brown up. So I went ahead and just cut my crease off camera, and normally after I cut my crease, I like to go back in like with the dark shade over here on the outer corner, and I am starting to notice now that I'm trying to like pack it back on that it is looking a little patchy right here, which is kind of bothering me. I feel like that happened in the last video as well that I reviewed a Too Faced eyeshadow palette. So the dark mattes, they're looking a little patchy right now. But now, I don't know, I'm not really a fan of how this is looking right now. It's really bothering me. I'm going to try and blend this for a little bit longer, and then I'll be back and we'll kind of do the lid shade. I tried, but it's still looking patchy. We're just going to move on to the lid. So I'm first going to take the shade right here called For Real. Hopefully this applies okay with a brush. I'm just going to start by putting this on the inner corner. I feel like this is going to be like a type of eyeshadow that goes on better with the finger, but we're just going to try it with the brush first. Let's go ahead and do the finger. Yeah, definitely goes on much better with the finger. Now I'm going to pick up some of this shade right here. I'm just going to go ahead and use my finger again. And I'm just going to apply this on the rest of the lid. These do have some fallout. I am noticing that. And these two shades are very similar. The second shade is just a little bit darker. I'm going to also blend the same shades that I used in my crease along the lower lash line. So I went ahead and added some mascara. Here is eye look number 1 complete. Honestly, you guys, I'm not like the biggest fan of the first eye look. I felt like I had to work very hard to get this look how it is right now. Like, I don't know, the only thing I really like about the look right now is the lid shades. I feel like the mattes look patchy over here, and I had a very hard time blending these mattes along my lower lash line. I feel like every time I started blending, either with my small smudging brush or like this little kind of fluffy brush, the shadow just kind of like blended away and looked patchy, which that never happens to me when I do my lower lash line. So yeah, based on my first impressions, I'm not the biggest fan right now, but now we're going to go ahead and move over on to the other eye. For this other eye look, I want to do more of a pink look since that's kind of like how the other eyeshadows are in the palette that we haven't used yet. So I think first I'm going to take this shade right here, and I also might mix some of this shade right here together, and I'm just going to start kind of tapping again in the crease, and then I'll start doing like swirling motions. Like I feel like the lighter matte shades go on very nice, like they're pretty smooth, like the pigmentation looks good. It's when I start adding the darker shades that I start having a problem. Now I'm going to pick up this pink shade right here, and I'm going to put it a little bit lower in the crease, still with like a small kind of fluffy brush, and I'm just going to blend this all back and forth a little bit lower in the crease. So far with these lighter shades, I feel like everything looks very smooth. I don't notice any patchiness so far. Now I'm going to pick up this shade right here on that same small blending brush, and I'm going to first kind of pat it over here in the outer corner and then start blending in the crease. And I feel like this is where we're going to start seeing the patchiness happening again, because I feel like I'm like really packing this on my brush and it's not showing up the best. Man, I had high hopes for this palette, so I'm kind of disappointed right now. I haven't seen anyone else's reviews on this palette yet, so I'm really curious if I'm the only one who feels like this. Alright, so I've kind of started to build it up and it's looking better, but I feel like, once again, this is just taking more effort than I normally have to use. And I don't know if you guys can see, but there's so much fallout underneath my eyes, like a lot. And I feel like with this kind of fallout, like on this side, you can see where these shimmery shades fell onto my cheek right here, and I could not blend it away. So it's kind of like ruining my concealer and stuff. This is not how I thought this video was gonna go. So now I'm gonna take the darkest shade in the palette. This might be a bad idea. Like, it barely shows up. That's crazy. That never happens with other eyeshadow palettes. And I use these same brushes like every time I do an eyeshadow look. Like, this is a dark shade and it like doesn't show up with the brush. Like, if I have to put this with my finger, that's insane. Okay, I'm gonna try a different brush. Okay, I picked up a lot on like this kind of small packing brush. And still, like, the pigmentation is not good. There is no reason why this dark brown should not, like, be pigmented with this packing, like, pencil brush. Like, this is getting ridiculous, actually. Like, I'm kind of irritated. So, once again, I kind of cut my crease. Now I'm going to try and build back up this dark brown, I guess. But I just know it's going to be patchy already. So, I don't know how much I'm really going to try, because I feel like I'm just wasting time at this point, trying to fill in these patchy parts. So for the lid, I'm first going to pick up this shade, and I'm going to try once again with a brush because I need to be kind of precise with my lid shades. And I'm going to kind of just keep this one right here in the inner part. That one I feel like actually went on pretty well with the brush. Now I'm going to take the shade called Lace Teddy, and I'm going to put this one on the rest of the lid. This one probably will not go on that nicely with the brush, so I'm going to have to kind of switch over to my finger. And here we're back at the part that's really gonna bug me. I really need to blend this dark brown with the lid shade. Do you guys see like how patchy it is right here? Like, I don't normally have that kind of problem. Like, this is weird. I'm gonna try something. I'm gonna spray some setting spray on my face. And now that this area is kind of wet, I'm gonna try and pack this brown on and see if it sticks with some setting spray here. You know, I feel like the setting spray may have helped a bit, but it's definitely still really patchy. I'm sure you guys can see that right there. I need to try and blend this. I just feel like I'm having to work way too hard to get this eye look to look blended, and I never have that problem. Wow. Gonna also blend these same shades along the lower lash line that I put in my crease. Alright, you guys, so here are the two eye looks complete. I'm not super impressed with the palette based on my first impression. I actually really like all four of the metallics in this palette. I think the lid shades are stunning. I also think that the like lighter matte shades were really good. My issue is with these darker browns on both of my outer corners, like this shade right here and then this other dark brown right here. They just are very patchy, and I feel like they kind of ruined the looks because of how patchy they are. I hope you guys can see like on camera that these are pretty patchy. I think that this is a nice palette as far as like the lighter matte shades and the lid shades, but these two dark browns in the palette are like making me not like the palette as much. I feel like there was a lot of fallout with the darker shades. That was probably just because I was trying to like really pack them on because they wouldn't show up. But other than that, I don't feel like it's a bad palette. I think it is overpriced. I feel like this palette is pretty expensive to be having problems like dark browns not showing up. If you like a really like kind of, I don't know how to say it, like sheer matte shade that you can build up, you might like the browns, but they are a little bit patchy when you do try and build them up. I'm super like conflicted right now because I like the lighter shades. Like I really like this pink shade right here. I thought this was a nice shade. This was a nice shade. The 4 shimmery shades are really nice. They are very metallic. They go on beautifully. They're not really transferring up anywhere into the crease, which I like. But those 2 dark browns really bothered me when I was trying to create these 2 eye looks. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Can you guys see these patchy shades on the outer corner? I don't know, I feel like for a $40-something palette, I shouldn't have to work that hard to make 2 dark browns work. I do love the packaging. I think it's a really cute palette. I love that it's small and thin and it's easy to travel with. This is a nice color story for every day. I like that you have more kind of like warm browns, and then you have more pinky tones over here. It is a pretty palette, but those 2 dark browns kind of killed it for me. So yeah, I don't know. I'm going to keep trying this out, and then I will keep you guys updated. You guys know I've been doing like ranking new eyeshadow palette videos, so this will definitely be included in an upcoming ranking video, and I'll let you guys know how I'm feeling about it then. But based on my first impression, I'm not really impressed right now with this. Do I think you guys need this palette? No, I think you can find a very similar palette for a much cheaper price. You guys know I love ColourPop eyeshadow palettes, and they are way cheaper than this. So yeah, that is it for today's video. I hope you guys all enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you're not already. And also make sure you guys turn on your notifications. That way you don't miss out on any of my future videos. All you have to do is click the bell next to the subscribe button, and then you'll receive a notification every time I upload a new video. And I will see you guys in my next video. Thank you so much for watching.